Russia built a trap. Thousands of drones watching every field, every forest, every river. Ukraine was supposed to be trapped forever. But silently, and in ways the world didn't notice, Ukraine developed new tactics, new tech, and new strategies that shocked Russian drone operators. This is how Ukraine escaped the trap. Russia's drone dominance on the battlefield. From the early months of the war, Russia gained a powerful advantage by pioneering large-scale drone warfare. It deployed a mix of surveillance drones, kamikaze drones, FPVs, and long-range strike systems that created constant pressure on Ukrainian forces. Russian Orlan-10 drones located troop positions, Lancets destroyed armored vehicles, and Iranian-made Shaheds targeted energy systems in command posts. Drone operators watched Ukrainian roads, trenches, and forests from morning to night, making every movement risky. Soldiers reported that even stepping out of a dugout could attract an FPV within minutes. This overwhelming presence allowed Russia to shape the battlefield, strike more accurately, and reduce its reliance on artillery. Ukraine struggled as drones adjusted faster than conventional weapons, making traditional tactics nearly useless. Russian channels often boasted that the sky belongs to us, and for a long time this was true. Ukraine needed not just weapons, but a completely new approach to survive and eventually counter this expanding aerial threat. Ukraine's realization: the need to counter the sky threat. As casualties rose and mobility declined, Ukraine reached a critical understanding. It could not outproduce Russia in drones, but it could outthink Russian operators. Ukrainian commanders recognized that the war had entered a new era where air superiority no longer depended only on jets or helicopters. It depended on frequencies, signals, and electronic countermeasures. Every drone strike revealed a pattern. Russia relied heavily on GPS, video feeds, and radio links. If those could be disrupted, drones would lose their advantage. Ukraine also tracked how Russian FPVs were guided using commercial frequencies, making them vulnerable to interference. The realization triggered a rapid shift in Ukrainian strategy. Engineers, tech volunteers, and military units collaborated to develop anti-drone systems, jammers, protective gear, and new tactics. Ukraine understood it wasn't fighting a traditional army. It was fighting a digital network operating above the battlefield. The only solution was to turn the sky into an unpredictable environment for Russian drones. That awareness became the foundation for Ukraine's eventual breakthrough in countering the threat. Electronic warfare, blinding and jamming Russian drones. Ukraine quickly expanded its electronic warfare capabilities, focusing on the weaknesses of Russian drones. Jamming became one of Ukraine's strongest tools. By cutting GPS signals, Ukrainian forces could confuse navigation systems used by Shahed kamikaze drones and reconnaissance drones. Portable jammers attached to vehicles or carried by soldiers disrupted FPV video feeds, causing them to lose control and crash before reaching their targets. Large EW stations deployed along front lines created zones where drones struggled to operate. Russia suddenly found that their drones were failing mid-flight or unable to transmit footage. Electronic spoofing, sending fake signals, further distorted drone guidance systems, leading some to strike empty fields. Ukrainian engineers also built frequency blockers that shielded entire units from aerial surveillance. This electronic warfare push didn't require massive firepower, but it delivered massive battlefield results. In several sectors, Russian commanders complained that their drones were fighting blind. Ukraine had discovered a powerful equalizer. Controlling the airwaves made drones far less effective and transformed the battlefield dynamic. Ukraine's electronic minefields strategy. One of Ukraine's most innovative ideas was the creation of electronic minefields, invisible zones filled with jamming, interference, and signal distortion. Unlike physical mines, these zones didn't explode. Instead, they disrupted drone operations within specific areas, forcing Russian operators to fly blind or lose their drones entirely. These minefields were placed strategically around supply routes, trenches, command shelters, bridges, and key defensive positions. When Russian drones entered these zones, their GPS signals dropped, video feeds went black, and flight controllers reported instant loss of communication. FPV drones often spiraled out of control or crashed before reaching their target. Even advanced drones like Orlan 10 struggled to send real-time images. These electronic barriers allowed Ukrainian troops to move more safely through previously dangerous zones. Vehicles could relocate, artillery could reposition, and soldiers could shift between trenches without being instantly targeted. Electronic minefields became a major reason Ukraine regained mobility in sectors where Russian drones once had total dominance. They reshaped the tactical map without a single explosion. Rise of anti-drone weapons in defense systems. As the drone threat intensified, Ukraine developed a variety of anti-drone weapons designed to shoot down, jam, or neutralize Russian aircraft. Anti-drone rifles became widely used. These shoulder-mounted devices emitted directed radio waves that disrupted FPV controls, forcing them to drop before reaching Ukrainian positions. Mobile jammer trucks patrolled the front lines, creating protective bubbles against hostile drones. Ukraine also deployed radar-based early warning systems that detected incoming drones and alerted troops within seconds. Another breakthrough was Ukraine's drone hunting drones, interceptors designed to ram into enemy drones or drop nets to disable their rotors. Small units received handheld detectors that sensed radio frequencies used by Russian operators, providing valuable reaction time. Meanwhile, battlefield engineers created shield-like structures around vehicles and artillery to reduce vulnerability from vertical drone attacks. This growing ecosystem of anti-drone weapons didn't eliminate the threat entirely, but it drastically reduced the effectiveness of Russian drone operations. Ukrainian troops reported fewer losses, more successful relocations, and a greater sense of control as these defenses became widespread. Heat ghosting and stealth movement techniques. Russia relied heavily on thermal drones to track Ukrainian troops at night, identifying body heat, vehicle engines, and generator signatures. Ukraine responded with a tactic known as heat ghosting. Soldiers used thermal blankets and specialized coverings that absorbed or redirected body heat, making them appear almost invisible to infrared cameras. Vehicles were covered with heat-dampening tarps, while troops placed metal sheets and heat decoys to confuse thermal sensors during nighttime operations. Some Ukrainian units created false hotspots, small fires, heated metal scraps, or battery-powered heat sources to draw drones away from real positions. Forest paths and camouflage tunnels were built to hide movements from overhead surveillance. Troops were trained to move in short bursts, timing their actions between known drone activity patterns. These stealth strategies reduced nighttime detection significantly. Russian operators began reporting random signals, multiple heat signatures, and targets that disappear. Ukraine's creativity transformed thermal visibility into a weapon of confusion, giving soldiers critical mobility during hours when drones once dominated the battlefield. Western technology boosting Ukraine's defenses. Western nations greatly strengthened Ukraine's defenses by supplying advanced electronic warfare and detection tools. Germany's jammers blocked Russian drones across wide areas, while British radars spotted small drones early, giving Ukrainian units time to react. The U.S. provided communication interception systems that helped locate Russian operators and launch sites. European AI systems improved Ukraine's targeting accuracy and counterattacks. Some gear even combined jamming with automated tracking for better drone shootdowns. This technological support reduced Russia's drone advantage and shifted the balance of battlefield control. Drone versus drone warfare, Ukraine fights back. Ukraine began countering Russian drones with its own interceptor drones designed to chase, block, or collide with FPVs midair. Engineers created drones that dropped nets, attacked directly, or operated in AI-controlled swarms to overwhelm Russian defenses. Long-range kamikaze drones targeted Russian EW stations and launch hubs, weakening their drone network. Recon drones helped artillery strike enemy FPV sites before launch. Upgraded Ukrainian FPVs increased their range and power, turning the sky into an ongoing drone duel that steadily reduced Russia's aerial dominance. A new phase of freedom. Ukraine escapes the drone trap. Ukraine's mix of jamming systems, anti-drone weapons, stealth tactics, and drone interceptors finally reduced Russian drone strikes. Units began moving more safely, supply convoys suffered fewer losses, and armored vehicles resumed nighttime operations. Russia's drones often lost signal or produced weak surveillance, while Ukraine's improved drones pushed deeper into enemy lines, hitting key positions. This shift gave Ukraine greater freedom to reposition troops and strengthen defenses. Instead of being trapped under constant drone threats, Ukraine turned the skies into a more balanced, contested space. And that's how Ukraine found a way to break Russia's drone advantage. A battle that once felt impossible finally turned in their favor. If you want to see what happens next in this war, check out the next video. The story continues there.